Welcome to Biztech's Technology Show, the show where we feature technology companies operating across Asia, talking about their solutions and how they make a difference to their customers' businesses. Now, today we speak to Varun Sharma, the Vice President of Asia Pacific and Japan at Emplifi. Emplifi is a leading unified CX platform that brings marketing, commerce, and care together to help businesses close the customer experience gap. Now, to tell us more, welcome to the show, Varun.
Brian, thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, before we start, could you give us an overview of Emplifi and the history of the company?
Sure. So Emplifi was born in June 2021, and it is a coming together of 4 different companies. So there's Astute, which was a leader in customer engagement software, which was founded in 1995. The other company is iPerceptions, founded in 1999, which is the voice of customer solutions. And of course, Social Bakers, which is the leader in social media marketing. So we basically got all these 3 companies together under the single umbrella Emplifi. And then as Emplifi, we made a new acquisition in September this year, which is of a company called Go In Store.
Okay, and tell us in terms of the strategy behind then consolidating 4 companies at the same time.
Okay, so let's look at in terms of what is happening in the CX space, which is the customer experience space. If you look in terms of customer experience space, the 3 aspects where I guess most customers or most brands are wanting to engage with customers, it starts from a marketing perspective, which is I would say the first level of engagement. The second aspect comes down to commerce, because if you look across the globe, even in JPAC, I think so the pandemic has expedited the overall digital transformation, and commerce is a go-to place for most industries, I would say so. So the commerce piece comes in. And of course, the care piece. The care piece is the most critical piece when it comes to providing, I would say, a unified experience to your end consumers. Because if you need to know in terms of their preferred ways of communication, if they have any critical problems, they should be in a place where they can connect with their customers in a seamless manner. And that's where I think so the whole 3 solutions coming together and providing a unified customer experience. That is how the journey has come together.
Okay, Varun, I want to ask you, before we dive deeper into your product and service offerings, give us a primer, a 101 really on social media marketing and social commerce, because I think a lot of decision makers in the region are looking at whether they're in a B2B space or in the B2C space. What can I do to engage customers better?
Okay, so when it comes to social media marketing, I think so the most critical element is for most decision makers. We work with CMOs, we work with CDOs. They want to know what is the general sentiment of their brand in the public forum. And that's where the social media marketing is an extremely powerful tool in terms of basically getting to know across different channels what people feel about the brand, what is the sentiment about the brand, and how best the brand can optimize their strategy in terms of engagement with those customers or with a wider audience. So that's the powerfulness of social media marketing, and that works across multiple channels, be it the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even Snapchat. So I think so it's a complete end-to-end suite there. When it comes to social commerce is, I would say, is the next big thing right now in the industry. And what social commerce does is it is in a situation where I would say most of us spend a lot of time on social media. And when we spend a lot of time on social media, the brand already has a consumer's eyeballs. What you want to do is make it into a conversion. And that's where the social commerce element kicks in, where you want to basically have the option where the consumer goes and clicks the purchase button and fulfills the customer journey on a social commerce platform, on a social channel.
Okay, now I'm going to drill down into some of your product and service suite. So you've got a social marketing cloud, you've got a social commerce cloud, then you've got the care piece, which is the service cloud. Tell us a little bit more about those 3 key products that you have.
Sure. So the social marketing cloud is the one which comes from Social Bakers. And that's where we are basically doing, I would say, it's a leader in the social marketing space in terms of what the customers who we work with. And what it does is not only the publishing aspect of things on social media, it is the analytics on social media, it's the listening aspect of social media, and of course, the community management piece. When it comes to the social commerce piece, it's more working on helping brands build out their social commerce piece. And that's where I think so what I would really want to touch on is the aspect of our latest acquisition, which is a company called Go In Store, which is, I think
That's
so.
out of the UK, right?
Yeah, correct. It's based out, it was headquartered out of the UK. We acquired them in September of this year. And it basically helps brands basically power video. I would say it's a high advanced video retail technology. Let me put it that way. It's basically live streaming commerce where you can have a one-to-one engagement with a sales consultant in a retail shop, or it could be a one-to-many. And having a solution like that based on our data, we've seen the conversion rate goes up by 20% compared to a legacy commerce platform where the conversion rate is just 2%. And the third aspect comes down to the care piece, which is basically providing extreme, I would say, a service aspect of things to the consumers, where consumers can connect to the brands and through preferred communication channels and help address their queries, because at the end of the day, or provide the upsell, cross-sell options. And that's where I would say the care element is extremely important.
So again, for our audience, from a care element and what you're referring to, it's agent empowering tools, it's AI and chatbot, self-service,
Exactly.
email automation and all that stuff.
Exactly. So it's the agent aspect of things, it's the chatbot, it's the voice of customer. So basically, when you engage with your audience, when you engage with your customers, you want to get some feedback. And what do you do with that feedback? So that's where the whole care piece comes in. And also the most critical aspect of the care piece is coming in across different social channels as well. So basically, you want to be engaging with your audience through their preferred communication mechanism, whether it's email, phone call, or through different instant messengers.
Okay, now, Varun, who are you? You're responsible to Asia Pacific and Japan. Who are your key customers, and how long have you been in this region?
Okay, so if as Emplifi as a brand, so at least we know one thing: Emplifi as a brand is new, but we are not new as a company.
That's right. I was surprised at how old some of your the component companies are.
Exactly. So we are 26 years old as a company. So, and how long we've been in the region? We've been in the region for over 12 years in JPAC. And that was through the legacy social bakers aspect of things. And now we've been in the region 12 years. And I think so looking ahead, there are immense plans for us to grow going into FY22. So that's how things stand.
Okay, and give us some customer use cases and success stories that you've had in Southeast Asia.
Okay. I will not be able to share all the customer names, to be honest, but let me give you a flavor in terms of the kind of customers who we work with. So if I have to look in Southeast Asia or across Asia Pacific and Japan, we work with the likes of Asus, Samsung, Sony, Shopee, Lazada, and it's basically ranging from different industries. So it could be from the high-tech space, from the retail space, e-commerce, as well as, I would say, the new unicorns. So we work across a range of customers in this region.
And I want to drill in now on the state of social media and customer experience. You've recently done a study. Tell us about some of the key findings of that study in terms of, I think the focus was Southeast Asia, am I correct?
The focus was, I would say it was a global study, but we did go into detail in Southeast Asia as well. And one of the things was, which stood out was the ad spend. Just in Singapore, it's gone up 34%, if I'm not mistaken.
34% from when? What was the base?
I think so. It's comparing last year's Q3 2020 to Q3 21, and it's gone up considerably over the last 1 year. And the key elements which you'll see is in the study is more in terms of on how video has picked up as a channel. The level of engagement which is happening on video is immense compared to just text and images. Let me put it that way, across social media. The other aspect which you'll also notice in that study is when you look at Facebook and Instagram, the actual, I would say the conversion, the ad spend on those compared to other channels coming up, I think so Facebook and Instagram are kind of losing out compared to the new channels.
Okay, so which of the new channels are things like TikTok and Snapchat sort of picking up the ad spend?
Yes, they're picking up the ad spend, TikTok and Snapchat. And I would also say probably LinkedIn as well, because at the end of the day, that's another channel through which a lot of us actually communicate. And
also, Varun, I suppose LinkedIn more from a B2B perspective and also from an older, more mature audience than say TikTok and Snapchat.
Exactly. So LinkedIn would have a completely different audience compared to what Snapchat and TikTok would have. Whereas Facebook and Instagram, I think so it caters to a range of audience in terms of the age profile, the demographics, so on and so forth.
How can I ask you then, a lot of changes have happened in terms of consumer behavior because of the pandemic. Can you kind of give us some insights into what are some of the key trends that have taken place and how you're helping your clients to then take advantage of the opportunity?
Sure. I think so the biggest thing which the pandemic has done, and as I mentioned before, has been the acceleration of the digital transformation with clients. And what has happened and what's transpired is every entity, whether it's a small, medium enterprise, whether it's a commercial enterprise, or it's a big conglomerate, they want to basically be very digitally savvy. Let me put it that way. And by that, it means basically right now, they want to connect to the consumers through the digital channels. So they want to be able to offer their products and services through digital channels. So what we see is a massive opportunity across the commerce option. And that's where I think so a lot more companies are investing their funds into the commerce aspect of things to be able to reach and connect with the consumers on a better way, and also to be able to build their brand presence through marketing. And I think so thereafter, once they've been able to do that, they look at the care aspect of things in terms of being able to service those customers in a more effective and efficient manner.
Okay, I want to drill down on one aspect of social commerce is really live streaming, and how that initially picked up very strongly in China and places like Korea, but that's moved to a much more of a global phenomena. Could you tell us a little bit more of what are the key trends that are happening in the Asia Pacific region?
Sure. So I'll actually share a story with you in terms of the whole use case about live commerce. Approximately a year ago, I was speaking to a customer in a very different industry, which you would never think they would actually want a solution like that. It was actually the manufacturing industry, and they were looking at transforming themselves. They wanted to build out a digital presence, have that social commerce element, the commerce element, but they said, most of our audience who we sell the solutions to, they actually like to have a look at the products before they actually buy it. The images just don't do it for them. So the whole demand for a solution like live streaming commerce has been there for a long time in this part of the world. And the customer which I was referring to was actually in Indonesia and in Philippines. So there are two customers who are actually looking at that. So I would say the industry has evolved where I think so there is a huge pent-up demand for a solution like live streaming commerce. And it will not only be catering to your classic industries such as fashion, beauty, e-commerce, retailers, but I think so you'll actually soon start seeing there'll be other industries which will actually follow the suite, which will be the likes of automotive, manufacturing, services. So all those industries will actually come together and want to basically go down that path of live stream shop.
And so this is interesting, Varun, because you tend to think of social commerce and live streaming from a B2C perspective, not so much a B2B. So that's a key trend that you're seeing moving forward.
Exactly. So you see B2C, but you also see B2B2C. And that's where I think so the difference comes in. So there are a lot of industries where the trend is B2B2C, and that's where I think so there is a huge demand for that.
Now, looking ahead, you're VP for Asia Pac and Japan. What's your market strategy and plans for the region in 2022?
So from a market strategy, plans for FY22 is more in terms of, I think so, having a more focused approach for us across our product suite. It's more, firstly, in terms of consolidation and trying to expand into certain markets, which is basically we've doubled down our efforts in Australia, New Zealand, for example, and our regional headquartered for Asia Pacific is Singapore. So we have a growing team in Singapore, and we're looking at expanding across the whole Southeast Asia market, and to a large extent, the greater China market.
So Varun, it's been a fascinating conversation. I think it's very informative. What are some key things you'd like to leave us with before we end the conversation?
What I would like to leave the conversation with would be, I think so, people need to act right now when it comes to transforming their businesses. And I think so social will be the key element which will help and drive that element across Asia Pacific. At the end of the day, I want the audience to understand we are in a region which has the maximum population, maximum amount of users across social media. And for businesses, this is the best opportunity to capitalize, be it from a marketing perspective, be it from a commerce perspective, because those two elements put together will help drive growth, not only from a business standpoint, but also from an overall region perspective.
Now, Varun, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Thank you, Brian, for having me here.
Now, I'm Brian Fernandez, and I've been speaking to Varun Sharma, the Vice President for Asia Pacific and Japan at Emplifi on Biztech's Technology Show. This video and podcast will be on our various social media platforms, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.